All right, that's awesome. Hello, and welcome to Collaboratory, the show where Mike Morris improvises an animatic with a little help from our audience. And along the way, we learn about the craft of storyboarding. Now, this is an improv art stream that runs on audience suggestions. So, Mike, what kinds of prompts are we looking for today?
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We are looking for characters, setting, and conflict. Try to keep it down to like, I don't know, 2 characters, maybe 3.
All right, so feel free to jump in with your suggestions. Oh.
No, I'm kind of working with a little bit of a injured shoulder today, so sorry if I'm drawing a little bit slow.
I'm sure your slow will still be very impressive if I know you at all. Yeah, so feel free to jump in with your suggestions. Whatever you type into our chat windows just might show up on screen. So, Mike, you want to tell us a little bit about how you hurt your shoulder?
Thank you. Go out. Sorry, my daughter is busted into the office for a second. Yeah, I just I was doing a lot of painting and wore my shoulder out.
That would do it. That would do it.
Yeah.
Workplace injuries.
I think sometimes, especially in storyboarding, it's so like laborious, because a lot of time you're just doing a lot of drawing, right? So I think sometimes you just need to make sure that you're exercising and stretching and stuff. And I obviously was not.
Do you have any artist stretches? Out of curiosity?
Yeah, sometimes if you hold your arm way out to the side and then tilt, you tilt your head in the opposite direction, if you put your palm,
I feel it.
Flex your palm as much as you can, and your fingers outward and up, and then flex the other way. You'll feel from your neck all the way down to the tips of your toes, or I mean, not tips of your toes, tips of your fingers. You can feel that stretch. And another one I think is this, where you, I don't know, it's kind of forced perspective right now, but you pull back like that, and then you bend forward a little bit too, but don't push too hard when you're bending forward. But it's just to counterbalance, because doing this can also hurt you if you're pushing on it really hard. But just maintaining all of your stretching, it's all up in here, all up in your forearm. Are tendons that run, to your fingers and everything. That's why when you're tapping, you can feel the tendons moving. If you are tapping on a table with your fingers like this, if you hold right under here, I mean, you can feel all those tendons moving around. you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
all
your
connected.
wrists are so delicate.
Yeah, and you know, it's you got to take care of yourself, and when you don't, you really kind of have to suffer through it a little bit, because you know, I went to the urgent care the other day, and they just said, you know,
Oh,
you have to you have to kind of alternate between keeping it immobilized and also mobilizing it, because you want to be able to have you know, blood flow still happening in there. And from what I've read, the shoulder doesn't have a high amount of blood flow, so injuries to your shoulder and joints sometimes can take a little bit longer, just by sheer virtue of the repair materials are not getting there quite as fast as some other body parts would. That have
I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say you're gonna have to draw with your opposite hand today. That's how you're gonna balance it out.
Oh no. although like there were some great school exercises like for left hand drawing. I don't know, let me see. Let me try drawing something with my left hand, and we'll see just how bad it is. But all right, let me see. So Lindsay and I have been collaborating on an endeavor of hers called Eat Your Peas Mentorship, and one of our characters that we have on there is a pea. And I'll try and draw that pea with my left hand and see how that goes. So we have a bunch of little pea characters. And I'm talking about pea characters as in the vegetable.
The little dude. The little dudette.
So this is my left hand drawing.
It's pretty good.
And it's, you know, not great, but serviceable maybe? I don't know. There you go. Left hand drawing. Versus right hand drawing.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You still draw it better than I do.
Yeah. And you know, pose helps too. So what do we got? Anybody made any suggestions yet? But Lindsay, tell me a little bit more about, well, I mean, I know, but for everybody who's watching, tell us a little bit about your Eat Your Peas mentorship.
Eat Your Peas mentorship. It's a little bit of a collaboratory. An animation collaboratory. It's basically like a whole bunch of animation artists out in Vancouver and all over Canada, but also including you. So we do have one American involved.
Yes.
And we basically help people out on a monthly basis. We run weekly classes, monthly classes. We put a lot more focus on the production and pipeline. So even though you're learning one job within that pipeline, so whether you're focused on storyboarding or rigging, you would actually be able to see a little bit more of the bigger picture, and like, how does storyboarding relate to the rest of the pipeline? It's such a I mean, every department's a key, right? Every department is so important, but storyboarding, it's always really important to like keep in mind limitations. Like, as you said, like today you only want to draw at most two characters, and that helps all of the departments. So those are the kind of not just that we do those kinds of tips, but we also help with like your technical skills. We give advice on like your drawing fundamentals. We kind of teach people what they're doing really well, and then also shine a light on what they need to improve so that they can grow and get better, and then hopefully get, you know, job experience or work experience, and get that first job. Yeah.
That's really important. it was very gratifying for me when there was one of our listeners or one of our audience said that they had gotten a job through what they'd learned here on the Collaboratory, and we're super proud of that.
Oh yeah, that's always the best.
So we're very very much in that grain of helping artists to achieve what they want to. But I think, having sort of the backup of a bunch of different people to help you grow in your journey, I think that's really important. Even if it's not necessarily like a completely organized thing, if it's just a bunch of friends that you draw with and hang out with and go to, comic shows with or whatever, having that support system is really important. Mm-hmm. So whether it's online or in person or I don't know, through carrier pigeon, it doesn't matter as long as that kind of input is being given to you, as a person, as an artist, and as a creative. I think it's super important.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. So, well, I guess we have a suggestion.
All right.
Can we use the P as a character today?
Yes, we can.
Simon31 says the P and his pod take over New York. That would be really funny if it was like Godzilla.
Yes, okay. All right. The P and his pod take over New York. I love it. Okay, New York is not an intense thing to draw at all. Like a bunch of giant buildings. No.
Buildings. Yeah.
No, that's not going to inflame my shoulder. Okay. All right, but I like it. I love it. I think we should start though with like something a little bit more innocuous, right? I think we should start. Let's get something on the board here. I think that we should start with somebody putting some money down on a hot dog cart. So let's have
yes.
Just a hand here. And we're gonna go with 3-fingered hands today. Let's get some money.
What do you put on your hot dog? This is a controversial question.
Chili and cheese. That's what I put on mine.
Okay, I 100% agree with you, but I would also add mustard.
See, I would not add mustard because I'm not a fan of mustard.
Oh, fair. Mustard, chili, cheese, and onions. Yum. That's a Lafayette pony dog from Detroit.
I wonder how many sauerkraut people we have in the audience. There's always some,
those are good too.
There's always some that loves the sauerkraut. So let's see. Let's give it a nice little rounded edge on there. And
nothing says New York than a hot dog vendor.
Right. The other is pizza restaurants and shops on like every corner. At least in parts of Manhattan, I think. But I've only been in New York like a couple of times, so I'm not by any stretch of the imagination any kind of expert on New York. All right, and we just copy that, and we'll just put it down here, and then we'll just use a little bit of, the good old perspective. Sometimes we can just grab this little perspective tool here and start working things around a little bit. And notice here on the property tools, there's two different kinds of perspective. There's the one that says perspective, which actually will like move things back in space a little bit more. And then the lattice, which I kind of use as a bit more of a general purpose warping tool than anything else. So I don't know. I tend to use the lattice unless I'm actually doing more actual perspective work. So, and then skew and you've got a pretty good situation happening there. Let's just take some of these and we'll stretch them out. All right. I guess we can
New York
include that part. We can get rid of that.
Identifiers.
Huh?
I was saying, what are some other New York identifiers? More for our audience too, to make some suggestions.
Statue of Liberty in the back, tall buildings, taxi cabs, buttons on people's cuffs, business suits.
We're on Wall Street.
I don't know. Where do you think we should be?
Well, you put him in a business suit, so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's business that happens all over. All right, now let's get us a little hot dog cart going on.
Sue says Wall Street, so we gotta double down for Wall Street. Wall Street, I believe, has a bull statue, if I'm correct.
I think so. Yeah. I guess register thing, square deals or something like that, you know. And then of course we need the umbrella.
Yeah, hot dog vendors always have Venmo. Now, actually, I don't know. I wouldn't know. I've never been to New York. I have not eaten a hot dog from a vendor, but I'm assuming. 2024.
You know, I was at San Diego Comic-Con some years ago, and another friend of the show, Aaron Pates, and I were tooling around, and we came across like one of those hot dog vendors out there, like on the boardwalk behind the convention center, and they had well, there's different vernacular for them. He called some people have called them danger dogs because sometimes you know you get sick from having one, but some people call them Tijuana dogs. Just from the way they're made, it's like a bacon wrapped hot dog with onions and peppers and all this stuff in that. And oh my gosh, it was amazing. And I was like, where have these been all my life? You know,
in Montreal, they're called steamies, which I kind of always thought was gross. Yeah, they're called steamies in Montreal.
Interesting. All right, let's see. So probably a little bit of, huh?
I was gonna say we got a character, we got a setting, but we don't really have a conflict. Like, what is the conflict for a P in New York? And maybe the P is the P eating hot dogs, or does the P not have money? What would be our conflict here? What's the story?
Yeah, we need a little bit
on
more.
Wall Street.
So we got, you know, we're just gonna rough in some buildings and you know, not really think too much about it. It's a city street. This hot dog cart looks absolutely gigantic. So on this city street. So I think what we're probably gonna have to do is scale up the background to match that a little bit better. So I think it between, you know, scaling each one, I think we should be in fairly decent shape. Let's take this umbrella and raise it up a little bit because, you know, we want that visual backstop. So we can direct the viewer's eye, you know, from following these perspective lines all the way off screen. You know, so providing a little bit of a visual backboard is a good thing. All right, let's get our hot dog vendor. Put him right here. Give him the little hat, you know. Mustache.
Excellent mustache.
Let's see. Let's move these trays over because we previously had him slap down money on the corner of this thing, and we don't have a corner for him to do that. So we need to make sure that the hookup works. That's a little better.
That's a good catch. That's a good, what's that word? Continuity catch. We did have a question. This is a serious question.
Yes.
Dressco is interested, I hope I'm saying that correctly, but is asking, how do you deal with your kid when they want to climb in your lap and touch your keyboard? It's a weird question, but they are serious. They want an answer. They want to know.
No, that's
they
perfectly valid.
They must also be in another.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, so they must be in the same situation as you every so often.
I think so. Gosh, I think that's on a case by case basis, you know. Generally, I'll try and just I don't know. It's kind of one of those things that I find a little bit, you know, a little bit heartbreaking sometimes that I can't just stop everything and do exactly what my kids want me to do, you know, because I've got things that I've got to get done. But at the same time, you know, there has to be a certain, I don't know, boundary in that way. Like you have to, I don't know. It's tricky because there's no hard and fast rule to it. You just have to kind of gauge each situation as it comes. You know, sometimes it's okay to let your kid just kind of, you know, play on the keyboard for a minute, as long as you can still get your stuff done. You know, but other times it's like, you know, I'm sorry, kiddo, but you know, I've got to do this right now. And oftentimes, I mean, I just have an old keyboard in the closet next to me, and I just grab that and say, "Here you go," and just put it on the floor. And then they, you know, can bang on that one all they want, and doesn't matter.
I hear you can kind of do that with cats too. You could have a little tiny laptop for your cat, so your cat doesn't crawl on your laptop. It it lays it down beside the tiny little laptop, so you can get your work done too. I've heard that works.
I've heard that cats, though, if they get too used to it, they start day trading, and then they never sleep. And you know, next thing you know, the cat like has bought your house out from under you and is telling you have to pay rent now. And
as long as the cat can afford, as long as the cat can pay its own vet bills, that's, you know, maybe something can be worked out there.
There you go. Let's see. Let's just do the typical like old school New Yorker with the hat and the whole 9 yards. You know, with the business suit and all of that. There we go. We'll hook up that shot by having him have the money placed on the counter there, and then we'll give him a briefcase. You know, all that fun stuff. All right. Cool. And then I think we'll probably need to just pop another layer in here for some extra scenery. So I'm just going to put a new vector layer right here. And then we're just going to put some salt shaker, folks. I mean, you guys are familiar with the term. I'm pretty sure we've used it on the show before. And on this background here, I'm going to give it a little bit more perspective by putting the line of the street a little bit farther out into the street. But, some extras and whatever.
New York's a busy place.
Yep.
Very,
and sometimes if you need to, you can just, grab a couple, hold Control or Command, and just, duplicate them. Put a really tall person right here. Yeah, it's really easy to duplicate stuff and move it around and everything. The vector drawing is really, really handy.
These are my favorite tricks when I'm working. What can I duplicate? How can I edit it to make some very quick additions, but also still keep them looking a little bit unique? So what you're doing right now is one of my favorites for sure.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the beauty of digital art, right? Is you have these software tools that help you to be more efficient in your work.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't utilize those, then what's the point, right? And then we'll just put in one of those old school yellow cabs. Probably should go on its own layer, though, I think. Because that's going to move at an entirely different rate of speed. And there's potential for some layer motion there, Sorry for you New Yorkers who may or may not be watching. This cab is not going to be super accurate. I wonder if they're still warring with the Uber people or not.
I have no idea.
There was like a whole thing some years ago between the Ubers and the cabbies.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
Apparently, getting a taxi medallion is like a huge undertaking. And so when people were just being able to do it for nothing, just signing up for Uber, there was like a huge issue that people were going through. All right. So we've got some money getting slapped down. Then we got the hot dog vendor. He's doing his thing.
So is this a scene setup? Are we establishing that we're in New York right now? Are we focusing on, or is this part of the storyline? Where are we in our collaboratory story?
Oh, we're right at the beginning still, for sure.
Okay.
I think that we're just gonna, trying to do a setup that doesn't always involve, this is the establishing shot in the wide, mm-hmm. and we're gonna do this and that. Let's see. So a little bit of mustard later for you, Lindsay. And then hand him the hot dog. He's going to look up. Hand him his hot dog. And that's when things are going to take a turn here. Just a sec. As he holds that hot dog out. mustard hand that's going to go down there. And this guy is going to reach out for it.
Okay, we've got a suggestion for a conflict. The vendor just wants to eat all the hot dogs he makes. So is there a way that we could try to persuade the vendor to disrupt the customer so that the customer doesn't actually get the hot dog and the vendor gets to eat the hot dog?
Well, I mean, I think there is a possibility of that, but I think that's, if we're going to do the monster story, I don't think that's necessarily.
Monster? We're just setting it up. We're just setting it up. We're going to go monster.
Well, I mean, we could
Godzilla,
ditch the monster entirely and have it just be a story between these two guys. And if the vendor, you know what? I think we can combine those two. I think we can combine them. Let's see. So he's gonna hand him the hot dog, and then let's go to a new shot. And this guy right here, let's see. Let's put him on layer B, and he's absolutely excited to finally get his hands on the hot dog. It's being held out to him. It's got the mustard on it. It's got all the stuff. It's got the onions. It's got everything that you could potentially want on a New York hot dog.
Yes. The more, the better. Just load it up. This is what I miss about Costco. You can't put your own toppings on your hot dogs anymore.
Go to Sam's Club.
We don't have those in Canada.
Well,
it's in the US.
I'm sorry that you have only Costco.
Out.
Yeah. It's kind of like he's got a little bit of a Kent Manley vibe with the hat.
Also, like Curious George, the man with the yellow hat.
Oh yeah, a little bit, huh?
A little bit. Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to get super detailed into the drawing of all of this. Let's just provide like a very, simple background plane. Got stuff going on in the background. Got sidewalk and everything. We're not going to get really into it. Maybe put a little bit of skyline stuff behind him. Sometimes it really doesn't take a lot to get your point across, but sometimes you have to do the full thing, but like not all the time. Let's see. Let's get his hands out here so we can clearly like communicate exactly what this guy's about to do, and he's about to get this hot dog. I don't know. I don't think that's the right gesture there either. Maybe something more like this, where he's about to, take ownership of it. Right? He's about to grab it and take it. Because, I mean, staging and clear communication matters, right?
It sure does.
You got to make sure that everyone knows exactly what's going on because, humans have not evolved to the point of being able to beam thoughts to each other's minds yet. So we don't have that luxury of being able to do that. All right, so now this guy's going to just, pull the hot dog back. as this guy goes out to grab it.
I pull this maneuver on my dog every once in a while. Dresco has suggested that the buyer, the business suit wearing man, turns into the monster and eats the vendor.
So we have him reaching out, and then what? Let's get some of that over here. So he moves it. We'll have him look at the hot dog. Try again.
Looks so like, what?
Yeah, he just paid for this thing. Expects it to be given to him. That's how free markets work, yo. But it's not going to be given to him. It's going to be moved around and around and around. So we'll just slant him forward. And if we had a little bit more time, we would articulate this a bit more to where it felt a little bit more fleshed out in the acting. But, unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of time on the stream. So I'll just tell you about things that I would normally fill in, which would be like a small anticipation pose, like, from here, like you wouldn't just go to here. You would go up and then try and reach out and grab. So
setting the viewer up so that they have a very clear picture of what's about to happen.
Yeah. It's a small setup and payoff, right? Storytelling is all about setting up and paying off. So you have to, even if it's just an anticipation pose, like from we would learn in animation, you have to be able to, articulate just exactly what's going to happen, just so people understand. It's just a very, very simple thing that you can do that gives a lot of dividends.
You got it. You nailed it. You've nailed the facial expression of the, oh, what?
So then I think we're going to take this pose and we're going to take it over here. So he's going to go like that. And then we're just going to grab this arm here. We're going to flop this head. But I think, sometimes you can just kind of flop it, not totally flop it, by just changing a couple of the vectors. And then we'll just dupe that one. And then, give him an even, more angry expression. Hey, stop that! As this guy's like playing with him. Didn't have a second lapel in some of these. Yeah, right after I said, "Oh, I'm not going to get detailed." And then we'll cut to the vendor.
Yeah, where are we going?
Just kind of
Looks
smiling.
so blasé.
Oh, I'm sure it's not the first time he's done this. He's got his couple of hairs sticking out, and he's just, He's got the hot dog here. Switch that out for the right layer so we can have just again a hint of that background so we know where we are. And that umbrella, so we got to keep visual continuity, and again visual backstop right here in the pole so we understand what's going on. And then we'll get that guy's hand in there to hook it up.
I'm like so intrigued as where you're going with this, as I'm sure everyone else is.
Oh yeah, I can't quite reveal that yet though. I think people will recognize where I'm going to go with this in just a minute though. So just I'm moving this around so I can hook it up a little bit better with what we have in the previous panel.
Mm-hmm.
With this
hot dog wiggle.
Huh?
The hot dog wiggle.
There you go. So he is going to he's just going to keep moving this thing around and then eventually eat it himself.
Are we going to see the businessman hulk out into a giant pea?
Now, don't go spoiling things there, Lindsay. Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
So He's trying to
I'm
grab it.
intrigued.
He's not going to get it. And then, we'll get this guy's hand. And it'll be trying to snatch it right here.
So this is a question for the audience then. What's the best way to reveal the businessman turning into? Would it be like the Superman rip? I'm trying to think of like famous, I guess Hulk. Everybody's ripping their clothes off. What the heck? Superman rips open the business suit. Hulk, I think, just like bursts out of his clothes. What are the other famous reveals? The spins. Somebody spins like it's a Tasmanian devil.
He's getting a little.
I'm getting called out. I'm getting called out. This is my first collaboratory, you guys. Diz Smith, Digi Artist, says Lindsay over here with more spoils than Screen Rant. I'm letting Mike do some screen ranting. He's explaining his process.
It's like it reminds me of that one Treehouse of Horror that The Simpsons did, where it's like called the 50-foot eyesore, where all of the the big neon signs and stuff all over the town become monsters and go rampaging around the town.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Oh, it's so good. Those old Simpsons episodes were just, so good. So
I wasn't allowed to watch. I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons, so the House of Horrors were always my favorites, though. The Halloween specials were always the best.
For sure. I mean, those are always the ones that everyone wanted to work on. And ironically, I was not allowed to watch The Simpsons growing up either, and then I worked on that show for like almost 9 years. A lot of really great people over there.
I believe it. I had to secretly watch The Simpsons. That's all.
So let's see. He just like nope, and keeps playing with it, and then just eventually just chomps it down.
Can you open that mouth way wider? Yeah.
Wider?
Yes, that's a hot dog face, if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, that's a very Canadian animation thing to do, I think. Lots of good exaggeration, right?
Mm-hmm. JD Smith, digital artist, is asking if you'd ever worked with Chance Raspberry. Is that a real name?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay, awesome.
There is a man named Chance Raspberry, and I have worked with him, and he's a cool guy.
It's like lucky fruit.
This hot dog kind of got small too, so let's make it bigger. Because visual continuity,
New York.
It matters.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chance is a cool guy. We worked together for several years. Maybe we should have him on the show.
Nothing says satisfaction like a slap in the face after eating a hot dog. Yes.
You just go straight in,
What a bully. What a bully.
Yep. Absolutely. And he's going to say something like, thank you for your patronage, you know, something really, something really condescending, you know?
So I know today's theme is education, and I'm really wondering, did you learn anything from Chance Raspberry? I'm not sure how you guys work together, but
yeah, I
bring
mean,
it back.
you learn a little bit from everyone that you work with. You know, Chance was really good with like wacky stuff, and you know, you could really see that in a lot of his work that it was very kinetic, and you know, I think I have a hard time when people talk about mastery of animation in one way, shape, or form, because I don't think it's anything you ever really master. I think it's just a lifelong endeavor that you get better and better at. I mean, there are masters of the craft, for sure, but I mean, is art something that you can actually master, or is it? Because it seems so dominant, where art is constantly flexing and changing, right? And it's kind of hard to say that you're a master of the craft in entirety, you know. So you're always learning, you're always growing, you're always developing, and it's a lifelong endeavor. So never stop learning. Always take, you know, what you can from experiences, especially. You know, when you get done with a project, you know, we talk about in the animation industry doing what's called a post-mortem, and you know, because the project's dead now because it's over, and seeing like where your strengths were, where your failings were, and like, you know, what exactly you can do better in the next version or in the next project. You know, what you can improve on. What did you learn? What did you have a greater understanding of after you were done with this particular thing? You know. Let's see. So this guy will be like,
Horrified.
thank you for your patronage. But he's like, but that was my hot dog. And then the guy's like, you know, I think we should do a nice little over the shoulder right here. And again, you know, we've kind of established a lot of the stuff in the other drawings, so now we're just going to go fast. And he's going to do the smarmy kind of, you know, lean over. And we could even go back to, well, maybe not go back to that shot. I was thinking maybe we could reuse that background, but I think what we're probably going to do instead is just split this up onto several different layers again. And we'll put these on the different layers, and then we'll get the hot dog card in. We'll just rough that in. Again, we want that nice visual backstop. So he's like, you know, like everything, you got to read the fine print, buddy. And then he points down to the cart sign. And then we'll do duplicate that, and then we'll get a camera move going on from here to here.
Always got to read the fine print.
And we can even
Hot
do like
dogs.
a small like thing like this where his hand is kind of in the way. Then we'll undo the duplicate camera move keyframes. And then he can move out of the way to reveal maybe he can like squat down or something too. That it actually says, you know, with his hot dog logo here. It says hot dogs. Then let's see. Let's do a quick insert where the guy is like looking. You know, we can even have him kind of come down into frame a little bit. Start him up here, and then he comes down and looks. And you know, we have hot dogs, and then like hidden in this outer line. We should probably even put like a price right here, like, you know, hot dogs $5 or something like that. But there's like some small discrepancy right here that you kind of have to really look for. And then we'll zoom in, or you know, we can probably just do like a stepped camera move. You ever use those?
Mm-hmm.
So put a keyframe in, and then we'll go to the next frame. So we do that using the greater than, less than, or like a comma and period on the keyboard, and then we'll add a new keyframe, which goes. Well, actually, just a moment. Let me just zoom in on this here so we can see it in the timeline a little bit better. All right, so what we need to do is create a keyframe here, right? And dual keyframes usually work the best because they don't have any real interpolation there. And so when you get to the next one, push home so we can make sure we're on the first frame of that particular panel. And then we will zoom in and come up here. And then we will duplicate that. So this keyframe then is going to go over on the last frame of this one, and then put another keyframe in there. So we'll be on E now, right there. And then we'll change the words right here, and it'll say, you know, like blending in, feed me some So it'll say, feed me some hot dogs, $5. And it's just a trick for tourists.
I'm pretty sure they call these tourist traps.
Yep, for good reason.
For a reason, yeah.
Feed me some hot dogs, $5. All right, let's go back on the timeline a little bit. And we can come back to this shot, I think. So let's just give this a copy, and then we'll paste. Because, background count is a thing, right? You have to make sure that you are not doing more than what you have the capacity for, right? So if you've got a huge budget, great. But if you don't, then you really have to be more economical with how you do your shots, so you're not overburdening yourself. So let's have this guy like getting up from. I think we'll probably just redraw this one, and I'll use a trick I've used on this show quite a lot, and just turn it to a different color and draw over it.
We got a couple of questions in the chats.
Yeah, what's up?
All right, so Resilience 12 is saying that they just started storyboarding for the first time yesterday using Storyboard Pro. So
right on.
Congratulations on that endeavor. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. They're really happy to see this stream. They're also asking, how do you do your thumbnails? I saw that some artist thumbnail on the first scene page, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
A whole collection of thumbnails on the first page, I'm assuming?
I have done that before. There's a couple different ways that I've done it historically. If I have a script, sometimes I'll actually import the pages of the PDF script into Storyboard Pro and have it like right here as I just make little drawings here and there. Sometimes I'll just do like a bunch of little panels and sketches and things right here, and then copy and paste those amongst several different panels and then clean them up. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. There's also, if you haven't seen it, the overview mode, which is right here, this little this block of 9 squares. You can have like an overview and just kind of do it that way in little teeny thumbnails if you zoom out. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. So it really comes up to your own personal preference. Sometimes I do my thinking on paper and then bring it into Storyboard Pro.
I mean, Post-it notes are so powerful for thumbnails. All right, so JD Smith, digital artist, also says, oof, and then he hits him with a buddy after he eats his hot dog. I'd be pretty upset. Being called buddy would probably be the last. Hits him with a buddy, like, that's for you, buddy.
Oh. So let's see. Of all the things I've ever seen.
So.
And I think he should start getting a little weird at this point, right? You really think you're going to get away with this? Kind of look.
Marcelo Junior Arts is saying that what you're doing is really cool, and they're really interested in what kind of frames per second you use in a project like this. I feel like I have an idea of that answer, but
24 frames per second. That's pretty standard.
Pretty standard.
I mean, you're not really going to see a lot of deviation from that unless you're doing something special, you know. In storyboards, it really doesn't matter as much as it does in animation too.
24 frames per second, and then drawing on every other frame. So you only have to do 12 drawings essentially per frame in full animation. In storyboarding, you don't have to, your frames are a little extended, but and actually that's exactly what Marcelo Junior Arts just echoed, that they've been using 24 frames and basically drawing one drawing per 2 frames to adjust the time more accurately. And then what do we think? We think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Well, I mean, I find that a good hybridized method of 1s and 2s is quite beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're mixing up and if you're drawing on 1s, it's usually like to clear up some fast action, if I'm correct.
Yeah, well, it's so you have the actual frame bandwidth to cover really fast actions, right? Like spears and things like that. I've had, speaking of education, going back to education, I had some really, really great mentors, because I think that animation at its core is a master and apprentice relationship in a lot of ways. So I've had some mentors, and one of them was very adamant about that smears are a single frame thing only, and that maybe you can slow in and out of something if you want it to be particularly smooth or buttery or whatever. But generally, you want it to be just the one frame, and then the second, the smooth in, smooth out, or cushion frames, as he called it. But yeah, I mean, just having those little tips and tricks and things that you get from your mentors and the people that you learn with along the way, in that sort of master and apprentice kind of old school way, that I think is the best accelerating, like the best acceleration that you can get when you're working in animation, that you have someone that has been there, that knows what they're doing, that has learned the tricks from their previous master and apprentice relationship, right? And it's kind of an old school method, but it's terribly effective.
Yeah, you want to learn from other people's mistakes. It helps you move forward so much faster. And you have to see your mistakes too. I think that's the hardest part, is we don't really want to acknowledge that we're making mistakes when we're creating animation. Sometimes we don't see them, especially if we don't know what they are. We definitely don't see those mistakes. So it's always good to have somebody looking over your shoulder and kind of pointing them out, pointing you in the right direction. And I think that goes back to having what you said earlier, like mentorship doesn't really end. I've been doing this for over 10 years. I still look towards you, Mike. You're one of my animation mentors for sure. And then of course, you want to have multiple people look at your work, because that really just diversifies your skill set, and gives you more tools in your toolbox.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't have to have necessarily one master and apprentice relationship throughout your entire career. I mean, it can be several different people. I have several people that I credit as being mentors of mine in one way, shape, or form. And this guy's gonna be like, "Oh, boo-hoo," like,
oh my god, boo-hoo, buddy.
It can be just an insufferable, jerk about the whole thing. I got swindled in New York. Oh no. Oh. It's funny that when I went to New York one time, we were talking to some people outside of the hotel. They were like, the door guys, and they asked us where we were from, and we're like, "Oh, we're from LA." And he's like, "You're from LA? How are you alive?" And we're like, what are you talking about? This is New York. This is where everybody gets mugged. How are you alive? Like, it was a really funny thing that we both thought each other's cities were like the most dangerous place you could be. Then let's do a new shot, and we'll have this guy with the hat.
Oh, here we go. The transition. Just to give you a little shout out too, Mike, earlier we were talking before this chat and you mentioned that this is your 40th Collaboratory episode. So congratulations on that.
Yeah. It's also my 46th birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday. Even dual reason to celebrate with a hot dog.
Well, at least somebody here is going to celebrate with a hot dog. And then we're going to give this guy just a little extra. Oh, it looks like I started drawing with the pencil for a second there. You know, sometimes that happens to me where like all of a sudden I realize, oh, I'm not even drawing with the tool that I should be drawing with. But if you find yourself in that situation and you want to convert your pencil lines to brushstrokes, just go to like right click and convert pencil lines to brushstrokes. And boom, problem solved. And sometimes when you're working fast and the brush and the pencil like right next to each other, that can happen. Then we'll just do a little bit of a tilt down like this. Then this will go down a little bit. This will go down a bit. This will go up. You know.
So serious.
Sometimes you can just manipulate things just ever so slightly and get a lot out of it, you know?
These are such good tricks for people to draw. If anybody's watching this right now, this is really like, this is how you fast track your work. And if you like to draw, and as you mentioned earlier, Mike, like these digital lines, these little assets, each one you can grab and manipulate. Like you are flying right now. It's so impressive to see how fast you can draw. So, oh, here we go. Here comes the P.
Here it comes. So then we can do a little bit of draw behind action just to drive that home, right? Then even maybe give this a little bit of a warp to it, you know.
That's a great tool. What a great tool.
It really is. You know, it's there's a lot of things that I feel like get underutilized in Storyboard Pro. The perspective tool being one of those. Basically, a lot of stuff in this part, the contour editors, centerline, perspective, and edit the gradient and texture, I think often get overlooked. But they are fantastic tools for refining things. We'll take that up even further here. So,
okay. We've got... Okay, Marcelo says, thank you so much for replying. This is going back to the 24 frames per second comment. And they think that it's a standard speed, which it is, to enchant the viewer. And I would say Disney probably perfected that, right?
Enchanting viewers?
Yes. enchanting viewers, but also perfected the 24 frames per second. Like that's kind of why we're at 24 frames per second. It's what the eye can handle.
Well, 24 frames per second deals with persistence of vision, right? Persistence of vision is the idea that these, your eye is going to be able to detect a fake, right? So you're going to be able to see if there's two images and they are, just being played in succession. Now, when it gets to 24 frames a second, that is the minimum amount of frames to create persistence of vision, where you perceive this thing to be moving as opposed to single frames being shown in rapid succession. That's why it's 24 frames a second, because that's the bare minimum to get persistence of vision.
All right, Mike, we are in our last 10 minutes now. Do you think we could play the animatic just so we could see the whole thing?
No, because we're not done yet. Dang it.
All right, we got 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes.
Right, got 10
this
minutes.
is your official dinner bell.
So then we're going to go, let's get some of this stuff reset here. We're going to go back to our textured brush. And we're going to start to pull out some other tricks. We're going to grab this guy here. We're going to grab, we're going to grab this full shot. Grab that. And I'm going to do this here. And we'll switch that to go over here. And then our camera, we're going to go like this. And we're just going to go like this. Just change a couple things around. And then let's focus that eye line. Then we'll do, actually, no, I don't think we need to cut in on that. We'll just change this a little bit. And I think this is one of the instances we can do a little bit of shadow creep.
Working fast, yeah. What's shadow creep?
That's like when like a shadow comes over the person, right? So we'll switch this to the opacity here to about 30%. And then we'll have this kind of a thing right here, where we see like the guy. Oh, I need to do my fill in right here. Right. There we go. And then we'll have, let's get back to 30. Wrong one. No, we can do that because it's not even frame. So this is going to go over him like this. And then we can have this be like that. And now the whole of him is going to be covered.
Protective P is coming out right now. This is Protective P.
No, this is Perturbed P.
Perturbed P? Peeved P.
Yeah, Peeved P. Each of these P's in the set have a different kind of thing that they do.
There's quite a few P's. Persistence P, Passion P, Performance P, Peeved P, Perfect P.
He's got a little teeny hot dog cart. Let's make him a little bit lower in the frame.
Marcelo Junior Art says, you can't imagine what a Brazilian hot dog is like. Here we have mashed potatoes, straw potatoes, peas, corn, shaved ham, and cheese. And we even grill it. Super hot dog. Heart attack. Oh my goodness.
Sounds like a Thanksgiving dinner and like a hot dog.
Yeah.
It's like when Kentucky Fried Chicken came up with their let's just throw everything in a bowl and do it like that kind of thing. It's like that sounds really intense, bro.
Okay, we're down to our last 5 minutes, but Resilience 12 is wondering what brush you're using.
I'm just using a textured brush that I created myself.
Standard.
So he is going to reach out with both hands.
My goodness. Moonzap, we've got a couple questions coming in. Okay, I'm going to go back to the brushes before I ask the other question. But Resilience 12 is asking one more question about the brushes. Do you have? What would you call a beginner brush if you were just using the software? Is there such thing as a beginner brush?
Just what's what comes stock. I think the vector brushes that come stock are, it's a great place to start.
Yeah, I think focusing on the thickness, if you can kind of taper the edges so that you can have that thin and thick line as you get your pressure, that's where you should just focus on that. You don't have to worry about the textures or anything like that. If you're just getting used to the software, stick to the easy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, stick to just the simplicity of it all. I mean, you'll get into advanced stuff like later on.
They'll come on in layers. All this knowledge, all this like experience will come on in layers. So just get used to what's there in front of you, and then you'll be able to work all that extra stuff in. Oh my goodness. This is a nice twist. I really like how this is ending. Moonzap is asking about Toon Boom. They don't have art layers. And what should you do in this situation? And Moonzap, did I miss a question? Did I miss the first part of this question? If you're using Toon Boom Harmony, it might just be a preference. If you're new to the software, you do have to turn that preference on. And I believe that it's under, if you find your preferences, it's in the advanced tab. So it's edit at the very bottom, preferences, and then you'll have a bunch of tabs at the top. It should be in the farthest right where it says advanced, and it'll say use art layers. So but that has to be in Harmony. If you're using one of the other softwares, you might not have those art layers. But if you are using Harmony, you definitely have access to those art layers, and you do want to use them. I'm a rigging expert, so those will come in very handy within the software. Depending on what you want to do, so you got a couple more minutes left. If you want to let us know what you're going to do with those art layers, I can help you out a little bit further. But other than that, I can only tell you how to turn them on. So if you don't see them, chances are they are turned off by default.
All right.
All right, Mike, we are down. We're going to have to wrap it up soon. Are we able to watch this animatic yet?
Yes, we are. After one more panel.
Oops. 1 more minute.
One more panel. All right.
Peas on a panel. Looks so satisfied.
Oh, he's super satisfied. He just ate like 50 hot dogs. All right, so here we go. We have money being slapped down, bam, and a hot dog vendor putting the last little bits of stuff on the hot dog and then handing it over. The guy reaches out, oh, I am starved. This is going to be so good. And then, whoop, hey, what? Come on. What's up with that? Give me the hot dog. What? Hey. And the guy's like, not even really doing anything as the other guy protests. Hey, what the heck? And then, oh, sorry, buddy. He's like, why did you just eat my hot dog? You gotta read the fine print. And he looks down, he sees the logo and focuses in. Hot dogs, $5. But then he finally says, let's go to the camera view really quick. And so it says, feed me some hot dogs, $5. It's like, of all of the dirty tricks, I will not stand for that. He's like, oh, boo-hoo. I came to New York City and got swindled. Boo-hoo. And so he's like, yeah. And that's when he changes. And we see this guy go, oh, no.
This is perfect. I can't believe you just told this complete story.
He just grabs the dude and eats him, hot dog cart and all. Satisfying. And then he walks up.
Bravo, Mike. That's incredible. That was magic.
Yeah.
Absolutely magic. I hope that everybody else enjoyed that little episode of Collaboratory. Mike, thank you so much once again for joining us on Collaboratory. Do you have any projects or topics that you'd like to draw attention to?
Well, obviously, eat your peas. Mentorship is going to be in that. And also, I will be attending Lightbox Expo coming up in October. So if you see me walking around, then you'll, come say hi. And then I'll be here in Burbank with Lindsay, actually, at the CTNX this coming November. So come find us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a lot of fun. So thank you, everybody who joined us for Collaboratory. If Mike Morris can draw a giant pea eating a hot dog vendor in New York after getting swindled by the hot dog vendor in 90 minutes, think about what you could draw in 3 weeks. You can download a 21-day trial of Storyboard Pro from Toon Boom's website at toonboom.com, and you can find a free video tutorial also at learn.toonboom.com. And if you're looking for more interviews, be sure to visit blog.toonboom.com for articles about storyboarding, animation, and 2D games. Those are some wonderful resources there. So I hope everybody takes a look and checks out all of those resources. Those are fabulous.
Also, give us a little hint if you want to see us try to do some storyboarding in Toon Boom's newest software, Jump, which is really great for making games. Yeah. You all right, Lindsay?
Yeah. Are we done? I don't know.
Yeah, we're done.
Oh.
You just got to say goodbye, everybody.
Oh, goodbye, everybody. Until next time. See you soon.
Bye.